welcome to Late Reviews, here with another video on Micahel Jai White. Yes, I've already talked about a lot of his movies, but lo and behold, there's still more to talk about. And I have some bangers for you to talk about today, and I'm looking forward to getting started. But before I do that, I should let you know that I did film all these videos back to back, so if I do refer back to some of the other videos I've been talking about already, that might be confusing to you, and therefore, if you're actually curious about Micahel Jai White's filmography, you should maybe watch these videos in chronological order if you want to get the full picture, and if not, it shouldn't be too much of a burden, and therefore let's just get started. So next movie I'll be talking about is fortunately a much better movie. Never Back Down 2, The Beatdown, from 2011. This is a movie also not to say much about, because it's just quite a decent movie that is very simple. Yes, sometimes very simple is very good. As we learned from Freaky Deek, as we learned from Vigilante Diaries, just having a simple premise, having a simple execution can be very effective. So what is Never Back Down 2? So I've also seen the first Never Back Down. Micahel Jai White is not in it, so I'll not talk about it in this video. But it is a movie about mixed martial arts. The movie follows these four young people who all seem to be about college age. One of them is a freshman. It has one character from the previous movie, which is now an organizer of these mixed martial arts events, MMA events, and he's organizing the Beatdown at his school, where he has these different performers who are martial artists and beating each other up. It's a competition, it's a tournament. And it's a universe where mixed martial arts is the coolest thing in the world. There is a scene of a woman saying, oh, all these mixed martial arts, they are the real men. I really want to sleep with all of them. They're the hottest guys around. Nothing is better than mixed martial arts.
These guys are so hot. MMA is what boxing wishes it could be. Oh, I know, right? Ground and pound, baby. These guys could have me any day of the week.
I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she's saying. So we live in a world where mixed martial arts is the best thing in the world. So we have four different characters that are all quite essential for the plot. There's this one character who is the main character. He's a freshman. I'll not spoil too much by saying that his father is a homosexual who recently came out and therefore left his family. His father is still very much in his life, but there seems to be a problem that he doesn't like his father. It's assumed in the beginning of the movie that he's ashamed of having a homosexual father, that he's homophobic, or that having a homosexual father would somehow make people think there's something wrong with him. And it is something people are, when they hear about it, they do harass him for it. Essentially, he was right in trying to keep it silent, because it is something that keeps, like, he gets bullied. Not that justifies bullying or anything, but that is what happens to them. He is bullied for having a homosexual father. The next character we have is someone who is already training. When the movie begins, he's already training to become a martial artist. He is from a poor background. His father is no longer in the life of the family. His mother is poor and resorts to stripping to earn money. And he has a lot of younger siblings. And he's just trying to raise the family and be the father figure to these children that they don't have themselves. He's a really lovable character. He's a huge guy. He looks intimidating, so it's very nice that they actually gave this very intimidating guy a big heart. He's definitely one of the most lovable characters in the movie. And other characters do end up causing drama and hating each other. He always stays quite clean. So he's a very nice character in the movie. He's very lovable. I do like him. Quite a well-fledged out character. What I will say, all these characters in the movies actually quite complement each other. They are all different personalities that all have their demons and learn how to overcome them or deal with them in their own way, while also finding this brotherhood together, this companionship. The third guy is this man who wants it all. He has already been involved. He has been a boxer, but after boxing too much, he gets a retinal detachment. Now, I have a retinal detachment myself. So when the movie started talking about retinal detachment and how this guy doesn't take it seriously, he still wants to fight even though there's a risk of him going blind, I was really invested in the movie, like, holy fuck, this is serious. Don't do it, man. Don't fight. You'll lose your eye, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he just, of course, keeps fighting because it's his choice to fight and risk going blind. That's not his only demon, but that's like his main issue, that he wants to be a martial artist, but essentially he'll go blind if he keeps doing it. And they keep, like, in the movie, that there's always this threat that if he's hit in the head too much, he'll go blind. So that's he has this retinal detachment. You actually don't get to know much about his character, but he is kind of a macho guy. He wants to be in boxing or in martial arts for women and fame and money. So I guess he's a vain guy. He's a pseudo-villain throughout much of the movie. There is a big clash between him and the lead protagonist because the lead protagonist gets interested in his girlfriend. That, of course, creates some problems in this dynamic, in this group dynamic. And then the fourth guy is this emo nerd working in a comic book store. Of course, it's a movie nerd, so he's a hunk. He's gorgeous. And he's being hunted down and beaten, and right before being beaten and stabbed, he's helped by Micahel Jai White and the chunky beefy guy, the one with the poor mother. Because Micahel Jai White is a former MMA champion who now spends his spare time training these young people. Or actually, he was only training the big guy. He then takes on these other people to train them. And it becomes immediately obvious that the emo will turn bad. Because if there's one thing that movies do, especially movies from this time, is if you have a nerd who's suddenly giving a taste of power, they become assholes, become psychopaths. And that's what happens in the movie. There's essentially a lot I could touch on in this movie, but I think I gave you the big breakdown of the plot. There's a lot of problems with racist cops. It takes place in New Orleans after Katrina, so there's also that comes into the plot. I honestly don't want to say too much more about it. I think it has very, very, very good character arcs. It is very well paced. It has some very good fights. It is all you would expect from a mediocre to good martial arts movie. It's nothing spectacular. It's just a good time. A good time you can have with a bunch of people that you may grow to love. That's not to say that the movie doesn't have problems. There are a lot of conflicts in this group that seem to come out of nowhere. A lot of tension is created out of nowhere and it doesn't necessarily make sense. Some character motivation, some character decisions don't make sense. I mean, it has a few weird issues and quirks, but overall it's just a good movie. It does have Micahel Jai White kicking ass, but it's not the focus. So if you want a Micahel Jai White action movie where Micahel Jai White is the guy kicking ass, this is not really the movie for you. But if you do like martial arts movies that are very run-of-the-mill, but done well, I can fervently recommend Never Back Down 2. I think it's better than the first one, definitely. I think that the whole group dynamic adds a lot to it. It's perfectly paced and overall a good movie. I think you should watch it. I'll move on.
Ground and pound, baby.
And what will I move on to talk about? The sequel, Never Back Down, No Surrender, from 2016. This is a sequel to Never Back Down 2, but one of those sequels that decided to drop the number for reasons. I hate when movies do that. Anyway, so this movie, at the end of the second film, Micahel Jai White is getting back in the game with the help of this college promoter. And therefore, the third movie shows Micahel Jai White being back in the game, in the ring, beating people up. And I will say this, whereas the second film almost had nothing with Micahel Jai White kicking ass, the third film has Micahel Jai White kicking ass all the time. I'm exaggerating, but it has him kicking ass, and that's good. After he finishes the fight, he meets the big guy from the second film who is also having a boxing career, or a mixed martial arts career. It turns out that this big guy, yes, he is now a famous martial artist, but he's also not a good one. He's falling out of favor with the promoter. He has one last shot, and if he misses it, if he loses, if he backs down, he will probably be out of the game forever. And also it's shown a lot of character progression since the second movie, because now he's just a womanizer. He's married but constantly sleeps around. He has no interest in putting in a lot of effort or doing his job. He just wants to relax and enjoy life. Now that he's on the top, he has been corrupted by the sweet juice of success. Which also means that he's doping himself. The movie is focused around a big tournament in Thailand, where the big guy hires Micahel Jai White as his personal trainer. And now who's he fighting? So I think one thing that confused me a bit about the plot, in Thailand, it looks like they're preparing for a big tournament of multiple people. And I don't think they are. I just think that the place they're training is where a lot of people are training for different tournaments. But it is a bit confusing because the movie only talks about one fight where everybody is training there to be fighters. So that did confuse me a bit. But yes, so the big guy has to fight another guy who is very, very big. I think one of the big issues with the movie is that whereas the second film really did a lot to flesh out the characters, meaning that we had a lot of motivation to absolutely hate the villain of the movie, but also sympathize with him. This movie gives you a villain, introduces him, says he beat his wife, you see the villain go into a rampage, and then you don't see the villain until the very end of the movie. Whereas, of course, domestic abuse is a very good reason to hate someone. I would have appreciated you having more time to really get invested in this fight. You only get invested in it because you might get invested in the big guy and his career and want to see his life turn around. Arguably, you could say the same for White in the movie. That's the only investment you really get in the movie. There's no real reason to be invested in the final fight, which I think is sad. I think they could have done more to make this interesting. And I honestly don't want to say too much more about it. The movie is a lot about how Micahel Jai White is fighting his own demons. He is struggling being back in the game. It's taking a big toll on him. He is also quite, not necessarily a conservative man, but he doesn't own a mobile phone. He gets really offended when he is told by a date that she Googled him before they meet up. He has a lot of demons to fight. That ends up him sometimes acting out in the ring. Because he has his approach to fighting, to training is quite old school. There is a joke in it that I kind of like. So we have one big show off in this dojo, this gym they're training in, who just looks at Micahel Jai White and says, "Oh, what is this wax on, wax off stuff? This Mr. Miyagi shit over here."
What the hell is this Bruce Lee shit?
Boards. Don't hit back.
What's up, Mr. Miyagi? Practicing your wax on, wax off? What do you even call that? Thai bro?
Well, he just makes a lot of allusions to Karate Kid, and of course it ends up with him constantly challenging Micahel Jai White, who's using these old traditions, and he's fighting this young guy who has all these new techniques. And of course the young guy is completely beaten up. Now, what I really like about this joke, this arc of the joke, is that the name of the bad guy is Cobra. Cobra Kai! It is Karate Kid in this small movie. There's like a small microcosm of Karate Kid references in the movie, and I think that was cute. I mean, there's so much more to say about the movie. I think there are a lot of good twists and turns, a lot of good character development. The big guy has a nice arc in the movie. It actually had quite a few jokes that made me laugh. There's even one transphobic, homophobic joke that made me laugh. I felt a bit guilty for it. It's a ladyboy joke, but I don't know. We can't all be perfect. I did like the joke, I have to admit.
What the fuck?
Honestly, it just has a lot of sweet moments. It is...
You're looking at the new, improved, and totally serious Brody James.
Isaac Cox. Isaac Cox.
a good movie with some really, really, really good fights in it. It does have some problems. It is a bit stupid at times, but I think it's good. I think the second one, I would prefer the second one because of the group dynamic, but the third one has the best fights. The last fight, I will not spoil who it's between, but the last fight is amazing. It is some of the best martial arts I've seen. So if you want to see Micahel Jai White in his prime, you want to see beefy people beating each other up, this is the movie for you. It's good. Again, quite run-of-the-mill, but a good run-of-the-mill movie. I can recommend it.
These guys could have me any day of the week.
So the next movie I'll talk about is Triple Threat from 2019. And the reason why I'm talking about it next is actually one of the guys having a small role, small cameo in Never Back Down, Never Surrender, is in this movie. It's the guy, I think it's the guy who wants to take pictures with Micahel Jai White and who's howling in one of the scenes. And he's one of the lead characters in this movie. So it's starring Thai martial artists and then mostly a Chinese-British cast, but also with Scott Adkins and Micahel Jai White. And it's a joint production between Indonesian, Thai, and British team. The movie starts up in Myanmar, from what I remember, and it shows this mercenary group, this group of soldiers with our leads in it and Micahel Jai White in it, find this rebel encampment, supposedly to rescue some civilians or some people captured by these people. They shoot up their whole place. They start torturing people and they free this guy who is revealed to be a massive terrorist, and it's Scott Adkins. And after this happens, they lock up the two Thai protagonists as they protest against this. They try to blow up everyone, but of course they escape. And the rest of the film now takes place in Bangkok, where this Chinese embassy, where this Chinese lady, this Chinese official, has a bounty on her head. And therefore, these mercenaries, now led by Micahel Jai White and Scott Adkins, are hunting her down, trying to kill her, while our Thai specialists are trying to protect her and keep her safe. And that's basically it. It's a very simple plot. It has very good action. It has some good shootouts. It has some good fight scenes, good martial arts. It has some good character developing scenes, somewhere where we get to learn more about these characters, explore them a bit more, over some humor. The camera work is good. Honestly, it's just overall quite an effective action movie. It's not the best that Indonesia or Thailand has to offer, but it is fine. I think if you want a good action movie, a movie that happens to star Micahel Jai White amongst so many other people, this would probably be a good movie for you. I can definitely recommend it. Not a big recommendation, but the action was solid, and that's really what you need for a movie like this. It has such a simple premise. It just works. It doesn't work exceedingly well, but it works. And it's honestly all I have to say about this movie. Very easy, quick recommendation, very easy movie to talk about. Let's move on. And here I will end this video. So there's one more video planned, and I hope that if you enjoyed this one, if you have enjoyed the other ones, if you've seen the other videos I made on Micahel Jai White, I hope you enjoyed them as well. And I am looking forward to the finale. I'm looking forward to concluding this saga, this chronicle of Micahel Jai White that I got myself into. It has been a lot of fun. It has mostly been a lot of fun, not exclusively, as you can see. But yes, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to stay tuned to see when I upload the final video in my review, or just, if you don't care, then that's also fine. And then have a nice day. That's all. Bye.